upgrades have not been put in. Natural gas injections, which is a key factor in keeping upgrading these oil wells, taken place. And that's all due to lack of investment. Now it could be lack of investment and lack of vision, or whatever it is. Money has not been put into these. And as a result, millions of barrels of oil are lost annually because of the damage to reservoirs and other natural declines. At the current rate of investment, production of oil is expected to continue to deteriorate at the rate of 13%. And one prediction is that in about 10 years' time, Iran will become an oil importer nation. Now, here is just a figure to get an idea of what's necessary. In order to keep the production level at 2009 level, which is 3.7 million barrels a day, the $9 billion investment is required, fresh investment is required per year for upgrading. What we have, however, here is no more than $3 billion. So the actual investment in the oil fields is 1/3 of what's necessary to keep the production level at the current level, not going back, bring it back to the highest level, the peak level that we were accustomed to. Now, while the supply is dwindling, demand is rising. There are a number of reasons as to why the demand is increasing. Obviously, population growth to some degree. Atipol mentioned, I just wrote down, it was referring to the number of times that the wheels turn as a measure of prosperity. Well, there's no shortage of prosperity from that perspective in Iran, particularly in Tehran, because traffic jams are also common experience in both cities. But the rest, I guess that's where the similarity probably to some extent ends. Okay. Here we have the issue here. The annual consumption is growing at a rate of 10 to 12%. So on one side, the supply is falling, on the other side, the demand is rising, so the gap is shrinking, so therefore the gap is what we call export, the residual. And that's why the export is diminishing faster than you would like it. This is an interesting statistics. 7 million vehicles, that's according to Deutsche Bank statistics, in Iran consume the same amount of gas, 35 million vehicles in Great Britain. Okay. And why Great Britain versus Iran? Because population-wise, we're pretty much the same. So what does that imply? It implies that one explanation is that gasoline is darn cheap. Very good, right, absolutely. Another explanation for that is that there has been absolutely no desire whatsoever to want to switch to more efficient, gas user-friendly vehicles.
No, I think utilization is also higher in Iran because we only have 7 million with the same population as Britain.
So number of kilometers per car are way more in Iran than in Britain.
I think because there's no public transportation available to people, so they have to use their own car.
It's not that easy.
Yeah, the space is larger, the area is larger.
That's arguable because and I was back in Iran when we went through these numbers with Minister of Industry, I think it was called, and the dominant car back then was Pecan, and we did some calculation, and the amount of subsidies that the government pays for each Pecan is, and the fuel it burns was about in a ballpark of $1,100 back then. And you could get a fuel-efficient car in, I think it was 1995 when we did the calculation. You could get a fuel-efficient car, FOB price, around $7,000. So government could get a new car, get everybody a new car in 5 years with just the difference of the fuel that was wasted, not actually consumed, only wasted, the difference that the Pecan was burning. So it's not only the mile driven, it's the investment in the companies, and I just don't want to interrupt the speech, sorry for that.
That's okay, yeah. Yeah, there are actually a lot of reasons, but that's part of it is because not adhering to the principle of efficiency, and number two, the gasoline being cheap the way it has been, overly perhaps subsidized, and so forth. This is sort of a table giving you about subsidy figures for some selected years, 1994, 2001, 2003, 5, and 7. This is just jumped a little bit. No, that's okay. No, that is a little bit out of place. So this, if you could bring this should go under. Okay. It probably doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, the population, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the leader has to move to the right.
Oh, this has to move.
Yeah, okay, very good. And that's, the first place. Go back one notch. Okay, very good. And then population, yes, exactly. And that's good. The number, thank you very much. Excellent. Okay. And if you could do the complete per day, would also go, not the country, but per day. Okay. Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. And I've got that. You got you in trouble. Sorry. Okay, so what's happening here is a comparison with, is that the same table or just?
No, the same table.
No, sorry, I'll push it forward. Oh, yeah, pardon me. It's an energy subsidy. You find these numbers. These are the energy subsidy values. Okay, $11 billion. These are current dollars. The numbers in parentheses are 2009 dollars. So this is, in a sense, you can consider to be real value versus nominal values for these years. Okay. This is the GDP figures of these countries. They're a little bit out of place. So, and these are the share of subsidy into GDP. I apologize because this has moved, and Bertojan, if you just can bring it back one step this way so people can see what is going on, and the top one as well, the energy bar. Yes, thank you. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So here we have an idea about the usage of subsidy as a proportion of GDP. In 2007, 54% of GDP is devoted to energy subsidy in Iran, but the number is pretty much consistent in the latter part of this decade, a little bit falling around the mid-2001, 2003, but obviously that was a little bit higher in 1994. Now, in comparison with other countries in the neighborhood, these are the neighbors of Iran: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Iraq, Pakistan, Turkey, and so on and so forth. And this is liters per day consumed. This is the population, and the liters per person per day. Okay. And so what you see is, and I just put that United States for the heck of it. So you see some, what numbers we have there. And so with this little bit jumped, I'm sure you can still manage to see what is going on here. In Armenia, the consumption of energy, gasoline, per person per day is 0.21. In Azerbaijan is 0.36. In Iran is 0.97, which is higher than all these neighbors, much higher than Pakistan, much higher than Turkey, and much higher than Turkmenistan. But obviously the largest consumer in the world is the United States with 4.5 liters per person per day energy consumption. So we are consuming more than others. That's the fact that I was trying to portray in the previous slide as well.
Sorry, what does it